Yesterday, Aam Aadmi Party leader Arvind Kejriwal created a controversy. He said he will appeal to the central government to include the images of Hindu gods and goddesses, Lord Ganesha and Goddess Lakshmi, on the currency notes. It has caused a good deal of controversy. How can you do this in a country which is run by a constitution and which calls itself a secular country? Kejriwal gave the example of Indonesia, that in Indonesia, in the currency note, 20,000 rupiah currency note, the image of Lord Ganesha is printed there. That was a half-truth. It's true that in 1998, Indonesian government released a banknote which had the image of Lord Ganesha. What was the official explanation? That time in 2008, financial crisis and Asian currencies were being devalued. And there was a suggestion that Ganesha is a god who saves you from the obstacles, and that's why they wanted to experiment. And actually that experiment succeeded. Indonesian currency retrieved its value and did not get devalued for quite some time. And that is the reason why when they succeeded in this venture, 10 years later, in 2008, the government announced that this particular currency series is being taken off. That will no more be a legal tender. But they gave the Indonesian citizens the opportunity to exchange this note for another 10 years. They could exchange it only in the banks. So till 2018, this remained valid with the banks, although after 2008, it was no more in circulation in public. Well, Indonesia did this for 10 years, but India is not Indonesia. Indonesia is a proclaimed Muslim country with 85% population of Muslims, and Hindus are barely less than 2%. But there is no communal tension between the majority community and the minority community. In fact, successive Indonesian governments have preserved a lot of Hindu icons, Hindu monuments, and the memorabilia of the Chola dynasty, which had a very, very fruitful relationship with the land of Indonesia. But India, if you look at it, the majority community, Hindu and Muslims, there is enormous degree of communal tension. Here, in the prevailing environment, putting in the image of Hindu gods would flare up tension in the country and would raise questions about the secular credentials of Indian nation. Why was Kejriwal then doing it? Kejriwal was doing it as part of his current vote bank politics. As you know, for years after independence, because Muslims who did not migrate to Pakistan remained in India, in order to make them secure, lot of provisions were made to ensure that they do not feel discriminated against. But gradually, this process led to a situation where political parties like Janasangh and its later outfit Bharatiya Janata Party launched a huge campaign about the appeasement of minorities. And that campaign had a lot of truth. Major political parties, the Congress as a national party, and lots of the regional parties had taken the Hindu vote for granted and thought by creating and winning over the Muslim vote bank, they would be able to win elections easily. BJP, by its minority appeasement campaign, was able to gradually consolidate Hindu votes behind itself, and which achieved spectacular success in 2014 when BJP won almost more majority on its own and 2/3 majority along with its allies. Then the other Congress, National Party, and many of the regional parties felt alarmed that if they continue with the appeasement of minority policy, they would not be able to win elections. They would be missing the votes of Hindus, and Hindus who constitute 80% of India's population. Without that support, they would not be able to win the election. And that's the reason why you find Congress began the Soft Hindutva campaign. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi started visiting, which they never used to do before, visiting the temples, sowing the Janayu, and doing puja at various places, and trying to establish the Hindu credentials to win over the vote. But unlike BJP, which was unadulterated Hindu consolidation campaign, completely ignoring Muslims altogether, they did not even, state after state, they did not field a single Muslim candidate. Congress also, along with this open soft Hindutva campaigns, tried to also put their old support base among Muslims intact and gave Muslims the candidature in a lot of seats, and also on the issue of Muslim victimization, they spoke up. So that was a point on which BJP was able to attack Congress very well. Aam Aadmi Party as a party is of recent origin. Comparatively, they did not have that baggage. So Aam Aadmi Party and Kejriwal thought, why not go exactly like BJP and have unadulterated pro-BJP, pro-Hindu campaign? So that's why he has been doing it, openly doing Hanuman Chalisa, visiting temples after temples, exactly like the Congress Rahul Gandhi was doing, but he went one step further. Unlike Congress, which resorted to soft Hinduism. Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi traveling to temples, offering puja, showing Janeyu. But at the same time, speaking up for the cause of Muslims when they were the victims. Arvind Kejriwal of Aam Aadmi Party decided to follow the footsteps of the BJP, completely ignore the issue of Muslims. Do everything, Hanuman Chalisa, temples, everything which the BJP leaders do, but at the same time do not follow their footsteps, do not speak up on the issue of Muslims. When Delhi riots happened and Muslims were the biggest victims, Congress spoke up, but Aam Aadmi Party kept absolutely tight-lipped, refused to speak a word. Recently, the rapists and murderers of Bilkis Bano and her family were released by the Gujarat government from the jail. Congress spoke up, but Arvind Kejriwal absolutely kept mum. Aam Aadmi Party absolutely had nothing to speak on the matter. That's how Kejriwal wants to consolidate Hindu vote behind it. And it has succeeded to some extent by showing the kind of support it is garnering in Gujarat. But yesterday's campaign that Hindu gods images on the currency note has carried that battle further and has certainly pushed BJP leaders on the back foot on the Hindu appeasement campaign. In this game, Aam Aadmi Party and Kejriwal appear to be having a bigger stake because it's a regional party. It doesn't have any responsibility at the national level. But BJP is a national party, the ruling party at the center. It cannot be as frivolous as a regional party. And that's why it's putting, by making this kind of demands, bizarre demands, obviously Aam Aadmi Party is putting BJP on the back foot. Whether by doing this persistently, repeatedly, again and again, it will be able to wrest Gujarat from the BJP, wrest the homeland of the Prime Minister and the Home Minister of the country, where they have been ruling for almost 3 decades. That's a matter to be seen. It's a perception game that is on.